Hello, welcome to the video. Today I'd like to talk about the MISTER and the VIC20 core. I haven't used the MISTER for some time, so I thought I'd get it all powered up and see what the state of play was. So let's go into the core, and there we go. Okay, just a quick note. I'm recording this at 30 frames a second and I'm going to be flipping between PAL and NTSC, so it's not going to be smooth on the video, but in real life it will be. Okay, so here we have the main VIC20 screen, and yeah, so we've got 3.5K free. Go Vic. Now, the VIC20 only shipped with 5K of RAM, and a lot of the games started coming out on cartridges. They mapped themselves at different places in the memory map, and the VIC20 is a bit of a strange beast because everyone had their own idea of what they should do, and anyway it turned into an absolute complete shit show to where stuff was mapped in RAM. So I don't envy anyone writing this core. So the first thing we do is we look into it, and we can see that we've got 3 external RAM banks here, and that's quite a bit simplified from, you know, if you've got a real VIC. So if you load a cartridge, for example, let's load up anyone off there. Come on, here we go. This is going to load to A000, and it's not going to do nothing until you reset it, and it still does nothing. So first thing you got to do is turn on the external RAM banks like that. Now when you hit reset, there it is. It's mapped into the memory map, and yeah, there it is. Plays fine, everything's good. And this particular game was one that came out on the Atari 2600, and on the MISTER, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good VIC20 game. MISTER recreates it perfectly, as long as you're in PAL. The minute you go over to NTSC, the core absolutely shits itself. Now, the same ROM running on another emulator works perfectly. So there's definitely something wrong with the core, and it only really seems to manifest itself in NTSC mode. Everything I've tried in PAL has been absolutely flawless, and I mean so much so that I'm likely to use this instead of the real hardware going forward. So let's see what happens in NTSC mode. So what we do is we change this to NTSC. Let's load up an NTSC version, and then hit reset. Now you see this screen fuck up going on here. This ROM plays perfectly on a software emulator, Vice. This is definitely something to do with the core, but it isn't just a screen that's throwing a wobbler like this. That's the problem. It's there's some timing issues as well, because the core starts to slow down. Let's flip back to PAL. And let's load up the PAL version of the game and hit reset. And we're back, and it's working okay again. So yeah, like I said, this game Atlantis is absolutely fucked on the NTSC side. This is a core problem, not a ROM problem. It's definitely a core problem. Let's load up a different one. Now there was a game that I liked on the Atari 2600 years ago, and it's on the VIC20. Demon Attack. There we go. PAL. So I hit reset. No, it's told me it's not having none of it. Okay, Let's try this one. There we go. Absolutely brilliant. It's a really good game as well, this one. It's responsive, plays well, really good version. And you know, I was really surprised at how good the PAL representation is on the MiSTer. Really, really good. Until you go over to NTSC. And we're back to the flickering mess again. There's definitely some timing issues going on here, and it's absolutely fucked. This ROM plays perfectly in Vice. I know, because I've tried all this before the video. Let's get back into PAL mode. Now, this is not a problem if you stay in PAL land. Not a problem at all. But a lot of people, they like to play games at 60 Hz. I know I do. Since going down the whole emulation route, I love playing games at 60 Hz. Even though the ones I grew up with were PAL. Now this brings us to another problem. Some of the memory doesn't seem to be initialized properly, and this I think is deliberate because some of the ROMs are multi-part and you need to load more than one file into memory for it to run, which presents whoever developed this core with a bit of a problem because it's hard to know when to reset and when not to. But we can see here, if I load up Gorf, just like in my other video, it's identical, although it's in PAL. So it's a little bit slower. It's not quite as nice to play because, well, it's just not. It's PAL. You know, it's 20% slower. It's easier. Go make a cup of tea before the bombs hit you. But yeah, so you can see that plays fine. Let's load up another game. Gotta hit reset in between. Look at this. Superb game. We actually had this one back in the day. A guy up the road had a VIC20 and he had this one. And although it's character graphics again that move in blocks of 8 by the look of it, it still plays really well. Look at that. Can't argue with Jeff Minter games. Let's come down to, oh look at this, Jelly Monsters. This is the better version of Pac-Man. Reset, come on, there we go. Here we go. Now this is a really, really playable game, Pac-Man. The Vic really did a good job on this, or whoever programmed it on the Vic. Now, I believe this one was taken out of commercial sale because of the copyright infringement. But the Atari version of Pac-Man is absolutely fucking diabolical. But this plays really well. It's responsive. And being HDMI, the MiSTer is just presenting it perfectly. There's perfect clarity. Everything is just really good. How the hell did I get away with that? No, fucked it. So let's have a look at the Atari version. Pac-Man. Another A000 cart. Looks alright so far. Sounds alright. What a fucking mess. You can look, he's teleporting. It's not responsive. It's just terrible. Oh, fuck me. Come on. Big blocks around the characters, flickering all over the place. I mean, this fucker's flickering more than the Spectrum. And you've got to go some to get a colour clash more than the Spectrum. What a fucking piece of shit. But there's a lot of good games on the Vic. And on here, they work really well. Really well, as long as you're not in NTSC mode. Because NTSC is seriously broken. 7-all Radar Rat Race. Everyone knows this game. Let's have a look. I mean, I saw a video on YouTube about someone saying about the Vic Core, and they obviously hadn't played it because they just glossed over it, and yeah, it's all good, and it really isn't. It's good if you're in PAL mode, but NTSC mode is completely fucked. There's another issue that I found as well. Some of the games, let's try Omega Race. Now, Omega Race, if I load this one up, reset that. So this all works fine. Look at that. Superb. Until you decide to play with paddles. And it seems they're not implemented in the core. Now, in my paddle video, I show you how to build a paddle. And coincidentally, I built it for the Mister. And it was the Mr. Spinner project. It's on GitHub. So I designed a 3D case to help me build one of them. And with the encoder, and I'll do another video on this, that is absolutely spectacular to play. It's far more responsive. But anyway, I've got one next to me, and if I then press, there we go, look, it's come up at the top of the screen, paddle spinner detected. Yeah. If I press F3, paddle, nothing. It's chucked me back to basic. What the fuck is going on here? And that's just, yeah, not right. So let's go into a different one. Now, bearing in mind, in Vice, this all works. So the VIC20 course does have some serious problems. There we go. We're in now. And it... No, nothing. Not a fucking dicky. Look at that. So the VIC20 core does not support paddles, which is a shame, because for some games it's a lot better. There's not many games that use it, but when they do use it, especially the encoder version of those paddles I made on the Mr. Spinner project, they're just so nice to use on the Mister. Really nice. It's super responsive. Look at this. That's me pressing the gamepad buttons. Well, yeah. Let's come down, see what else we got here. I've tried some other games that use paddles as well, and it just doesn't pick any up. One of them is Clowns, so we can go in there. The Clowns. Yeah. NTSC. The strange thing about the Vic was that some games were made and they'd run on both systems, PAL and NTSC. And this one's a good example of it. Let's start this up. F1, here we go. And you can see here, you can, you know, your little man's doing his bit. Fucking bouncing all over the place. Oh, Lovely. And then you try and use the spinner, and nothing. Yeah, I'm twiddling it in now next to me. You can't hear it because it's an encoder, it's silent. But yeah, it's not a fucking dickie, which is a shame. Hopefully the VIC20 core will get a bit of love, and they'll correct some of these things. But coincidentally, this game in NTSC works okay. Just to add a bit of mud to the water. Come on. Well, he says as it doesn't even start now. Right, do a reset, go. And okay, no, it doesn't seem to want to start. Shit. Okay. Dump that back into PAL. There's some other games that have some problems as well. Let's have a look at, there was a pinball game. Pinball Spectacular. This is a paddle one. Now, this is a multi-part cartridge, so it's a bit fucked. So you load at A000 and you go to reset. And you can see here that it's yeah, a bit broken. Also, the core seems to keep losing its sync to the capture. Now, this actually happens when you're direct on a TV as well. It keeps losing its shit. Just the sync just disappears. So there's definitely something wrong here, and this is in PAL mode. So let's load up the second part of this, which is at 6000. Let's do a reboot on this. As you can see, this is sort of mincing its way up the screen, and yeah, it's not good, and it keeps losing. Look, it's losing its shit. Coincidentally, though, when you press F1, he says, when you press F1, it goes rock solid. And the sync is okay. And the paddles are, well, again, they're not implemented in the core. It looks like it's, yeah, pretty fucked. Let's get over to NTSC. The memory should stay intact, and yeah, I mean the shit going up the screen is just as bad. Let's see if we can get into a game. As we can see, we can't move the paddles, and yeah, yeah, lovely. Let's drop back to PAL. Let's go back to this one. Well, I knew as a kid. Cosmic Cruncher. Yeah, it's actually not a bad game. Not a patch on Jelly Monsters, but it's still quite responsive. It works well enough. I'm capturing all this at 720, 30 frames a second as well. There's no point me capturing at 1080, it's like putting a fur coat on a turd. Let's reset that. So, what are we thinking then? Well, I mean, obviously I've got a MISTER, and well, I've got more than one, but I've not used it in a while. I've powered it up, and the VIC20 core is really nice, but there's a couple of things with it that still I think are not going to tear me away from emulation. They're just, it's still got some way to go. The paddles are not a deal breaker, but it's already implemented on the MISTER anyway, so it shouldn't be too hard to implement this in the core. but the NTSC mode is absolutely wankered. And although you don't see it on the video, there's some stuff that as I've been playing with this a lot more than what you can see on the video, there's some stuff not quite right, where I've had to physically jump out the core, jump back in, because it's just lost all its shit. Yeah, it's quite rare, and you've got to play it for a while before that goes on, but I think it's a good core if you stay in PAL, and then it's really good. It's really nice. If you know how to use the core, i.e. the memory regions, yeah, you're alright. If you don't, you're going to have a little bit of a tough time with this. I think maybe there should be a wiki or something somewhere to explain to new people. But all in all, I mean, because it's HDMI, you get a crystal clear quality picture, and yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. It's responsive, it works well, but it's just got some way to go. So yeah, I mean, it's got to have been a good year since I've looked at this last on the Mister, and it doesn't really seem to have come along very far in that time. Yeah, I'll probably stick with emulation, Vice, be it on Windows or Pi, which is, you know, pretty spot on. It's only a VIC20. I mean, even a Raspberry Pi will just smash the arsehole out of it. But it's still a good core. You know, if you want to play joystick games on a VIC, your Mister's already set up, and this is one of the points where Mister scores quite well. Just like the Pi, it's already there. So if you have it set up all the time, you can just dip in and it's good. But yeah, the NTSC version, absolutely fucked. Yeah, so the only thing left to say is, if you want any stuff for the Mister, check out Ricardo Saravia on Facebook. He's also got retroshop.pt and ultimatemister.com. He's a real nice guy, and he's flogged me a load of Mister gear over the years, and it's real top-notch service. Check out 8-Bit Retro ReFix, and thanks for watching.